Yeah, Chris, this is what we do. This is our gig.
This is the lamest thing of the whole show.
Oh, look at you. We got a visitor and you're embarrassed. I
say
love
that
it.
every week.
You do not.
Yes,
Get in here.
guys.
Ready, 1, 2, 3. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Download Youth Ministry web show. Doug Fields here with my good friend Matt McGill. Josh, we have a special guest. Chris Dowling. Chris
is here.
This is like, we've had other guests, Chris, not very often. You're probably in 6 years, you're probably the 10th guest.
Yeah, not very many.
But nobody's written a film before.
Never have we had a film.
Yeah, we got people that write books, but they're bad books. So
when J.K. Rowling was here, that was a big.
It sounds
not a big deal.
It's a milestone. So
exactly.
Whatever that fit in. Yeah,
this is
big.
Chris is the screenwriter of a new movie coming out called The Remaining that Matt and I have actually seen. Yep. When is it coming out?
September 5th in theaters.
Okay, so you got a little bit of time to get the word out, to spread the news with your youth ministry, but it falls into this niche genre that. Here's the, totally honest. We went like the football movie When the Game Stands Tall. I saw that and I went faith-based, not cheesy. I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
Then yours comes around and we're like, really?
And we were a little hesitant. We were like, do we really, how do you get behind a movie like this?
Then we saw it.
Yeah.
Well, you saw it.
Yeah.
I just say I'm still a little bitter.
Okay.
Still a little bitter.
Chris, here's how it works. Sony.
We only had 2 tickets. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's right. 2 download
Sony
tickets.
Pictures sends it to us. Matt watches it and he comes in the office and goes, "You guys, it's good. We got to get behind this thing."
Fantastic.
And then I say, "Okay, before I put an endorsement to it, I want to watch it." And my internet is not as good as Matt's. So some of the horror and the suspense was met by Mr. Buffering.
Yeah.
So the screener copy was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get so scared," and then Wheel of Patience.
My wife is like, "How long do you think this is gonna happen?" So, well, unless we change internet, probably the whole time.
Instead of it's the buffering now.
But it was great. Good job.
Thank you.
And so tell everybody about it.
Well, okay, and one thing I do want to say is because I've watched it on a link as well on the computer, and then I've watched it in the theater with other people. The experience is not even remotely close. This is definitely one like you want to see in the theater. I mean, it's got the scare moments. It is big. It is loud. I mean, it is.
And it's PG-13, so it's a faith-based movie. It's PG-13. Big picture.
Yeah, tell us about the movie.
It's about the storyline. It's called The Remaining, and it's about what?
Yeah, it's about the rapture. Really, I mean, it's a very cool thing for me because you have a lot of faith-based movies start out, and it's like basically the format is it's a Christian who's lost his way. The second act is like a sermon, whatever the sermon is going to be. He learns his lesson. Third act, he comes back to faith, and it all works out in the end. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people that don't associate with that. And especially on the scale, there's also like people that aren't believers that don't associate with that because they don't relate to a character that starts off as a Christian. Well, ours, we have 5 guys that are at a wedding when the rapture goes down, and that's who we're going to be following. And I find it really cool and interesting. It's basically as these events are unfolding and the people the people that are left, the remaining people are trying to figure out what's going on. I mean, we all know what's going on, and they have to make a decision. Just like, in life, we all have to make a decision about God and faith, and we're basically watching this unfold for them as it goes on. Yeah.
It was fun. The wedding, when the rapture hits, that elevator scene. Now I don't know how.
Spoiler alert.
Well,
I know. I was thinking about that too.
Yeah,
like, how do you talk about? How do you talk about a movie without like?
Well, the rapture happens, and let's put it this way: there are some people that get raptured, but in a different way than like the Left Behind. The bodies don't float up or anything like that. They drop.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. And so then all of a sudden people don't know if it's an outbreak. They don't know if it's, the Ebola. E. coli?
Yeah. What did you get in your sandwich today? Yeah. But when you say the 5 characters, the thing that's cool is that they're all very different. They're at a different place in their spirituality, their relationship with God. And so it's almost like watching the movie, everyone's going to identify with it on some level.
One of those.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
That's cool.
So, and that was part of the goal with the characters is like really like picking and going, okay, well, this is somebody that I would affiliate with. This is someone that my daughter might affiliate, but there's definite people to hold on to in there, and they all go on a journey, and they all have to make a choice, which I think is important. And they all, it plays out for each of them. They each have their own little journey that it plays out on. And it's one thing about the bodies falling and stuff is we just want to do something different.
Yeah.
You've just seen so much, and so we thought it'd be cool if these bodies go down, and then the eyes just kind of the pinprick eyes go, and it's like you see in this light, and it's just like.
Yeah.
Gone.
No, it's pretty.
It's intense.
The other thing that I thought was interesting. There's a pastor who's left behind.
Oh,
and so it is based after Josh.
I was gonna say,
It's basically Josh when he was a little
I
older.
wish I'd see this movie.
Yeah. No, but
right
don't.
now.
You can't, yeah. I don't know how to talk about it.
Yeah, it's hard to
Well,
talk.
let me ask you this. I got something I
don't
want
spoil
to.
it. Honestly,
Don't
don't
spoil
spoil
the
it,
story.
yeah.
Try not to do that. I'll be edited of this. We've done this. I'm the only person that's been edited on the show.
That's
so.
true. For reasons we can't, we have to edit those.
Yeah, we have to even edit the
If
reading.
you stood up,
Yeah.
That's it. You
horrible.
would do just fine around this table.
Seriously. No, okay, so this is obvious. I mean, it's a unique story. This is not a run-of-the-mill, regular, just normal movie. What moved you to tell this story? I mean, what was it about it that you wanted to get out
Look
there?
at you come alive. I love this. He really is your biggest fan in this thing.
It's a great
It's also your
thing.
genre too.
Right, that thriller.
I mean,
horror,
Like when we
suspense.
talked about the football movie, you couldn't relate because it was a sport.
Oh.
But this is a little bit more you.
I love how you'll throw the truth out just to get a bit.
It's a good
That's
bit, though.
awesome.
It's a strong bit.
Yeah, is that new to you?
Yeah,
it's always a hint to make.
it's
it
not new. It's just
But
continually
it's true.
surprising.
This is your genre, where I am a little more, maybe this isn't my genre.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see it because it isn't a film I would normally be like, I want to go get scared.
Okay, but
Well,
let's
let me
talk
say,
about that for
I
one
was just
second.
saying, in all fairness, it's not my genre either. Like I'm
Yeah.
not a fan of these type of films to begin with. So
Right.
for me,
But you wrote one. There you go.
But that's why the characterizations are so important. Like the characters are what's important to me in a film,
There you
and
go.
that's why I really like this.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, first time I saw it, I kind of was a little guarded about it because it's just not my thing. But then watching it the second time, I loved it. Like, I was like, this is really actually, and with anything, like again, it's like there's never the perfect movie, and there's, you were asking how I came up or how I got on board. Well, basically, in the way it worked was the script got brought to Sony,
Okay.
and then Rich Paluso at Affirm Films. It was a good idea, and there was a lot of good stuff there. But he said, "Hey, we need someone to come in and work with this to make this happen." And so that's when I came on and did stuff I wanted to do to it. But then at the end of the day, you have multiple cooks in the kitchen. You have a studio that you have to answer to.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of things where it's like,
Tons of people with opinions.
Yeah,
We would
and
never.
so there's a lot. There's definitely moments there I look at it and I go, man, I wish we would have done something a little different. But at the end of the day, walking out of it, I go, I really like this movie.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's
Absolutely.
just like with anything. There's no perfect equation for it. But I'm excited because it is tracked so well, and so many people are excited about it. And because it is. I mean, has there ever been a more like sub genre than Christian horror thriller-ish?
Immediately afterwards, I had a bunch of 19-year-olds at my house that were downstairs. So having fun. Just my daughter's home for summer. They're doing all kinds of swimming, barbecue, the whole bit. Kathy and I are upstairs watching it on our computer in the buffering moment. But I thought, if all of those guys watched it, I promise you for the next hour there would be intense spiritual conversations. Because
it's
you don't
total conversation.
You don't walk out of there going, I don't want to talk about it. It is one that you're just going to talk about. And I had this moment, Chris, where I thought, there's going to be kids that come to Christ that don't even know what they're doing. Like, I don't know anything about God or Jesus or the Bible, but I don't want that to happen to me.
Right. And the thing that's so cool about it is, like, you're getting in a broader conversation about, like, the faith spectrum of films. Obviously you have the message movies, and those are made for the church. I mean, like, you're not going to take, there's movies well named, but, like, you're not going to take your agnostic friend and go, hey, you're going to love this film, because you're not. You're going to hate it, and you're going to probably be upset you came. However, there's films that kind of are starting, and we're seeing more of them, that kind of split the difference. And this is one of those where it's got a strong message in it, but you're not embarrassed to bring your friends, because guess what? It doesn't have necessarily. It's a great starter question too. Like, I mean, there's the messages in there, but it's shrouded in the question. So it's not like, hey, we have all the answers, but like you said, and I've had that experience too, where people walk away and they go, hey, let's talk about this. Like, what is this? What does this mean? Even in your own faith, like, even I'm a Christian. What does it mean for me right now? Like, where am I with my walk, and what should I be doing? And like, there's just a lot of questions that get to go out there.
Yeah.
And it's a healthy discussion piece, and it's built for that. I mean, like, this is a film for youth groups.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. Like, it's the sweet spot for us. Like,
Okay, well, and that's our sweet spot as the audience.
Yeah,
Is obviously we're talking to youth workers who
Yes.
influence a lot of kids, and we don't just, because of our little sacred trust of doing this for several years, we don't just jump on any bandwagon. But Matt got so excited about this, and then I watched it because everybody needs to temper Matt. And so then when I watched, I went, it's going to create really good discussion. Youth workers will get a little bit of heat, just on the conservative end, by encouraging
It's
kids.
not. It's no. It's not Walking
Let me finish.
Dead.
They're gonna by saying, "Hey, go see this movie." You're gonna have some very conservative types to say, "Why are you telling our kid to go to a PG-13?" But there's no sex in it. There's no language that I remember. It's just scary.
There's a few
elements.
jump points, but it's not gross and visceral like Walking Dead. It's not
gory.
It's not gory. Is the
Yeah,
human word
there's
I
a
was
scary
looking for.
element to
but
it.
there's definitely some.
How
some
does
parts.
our youth ministry community? Let's talk about it in two ways. How does our youth ministry community support this, the remaining, and then two, what about just faith-based films in general?
Well, obviously the faith market is really, flourishing right now as far as films go. Like, and it's just like anything. It's almost becoming like the new genre film. Like, it's like, if you had a couple of dollars to throw in a movie, even a studio level, you'd be like, let's throw it into a horror film and see what happens. Like, but now it's like, actually, we're seeing some people like, hey, let's throw in a faith film because we know there's this audience there. So, I hope that we don't get oversaturated enough where it's like, and that's why it takes Christian influencers also like yourselves and stuff and people like in good word of mouth, and you want to make good films,
right?
Which is my biggest thing is like, I feel like we'll forgive, as Christians a lot of times we'll forgive the art, and I'm stealing this from Andy Mineo because I read the thing, I loved it, but he's like, if we'll forgive the art if we agree with the message. And I feel like to me that kind of sums up like a lot of the Christian films, and we go, it was an amazing movie, and you're like, was it a good movie, or you just like the message? No, it was amazing. And you talk through it, and like, you're okay, maybe, okay, but the message is good, and I'm like, I get it. And so like,
people say the same thing about their drunk uncles.
Absolutely.
Just kidding. First thing I thought of when I just thought of you like the person, but yeah.
I know.
Well, Griff's got about 8 of them, so that's why.
So where you put your dollars at the end of the day is what is going to dictate to Hollywood what they want to see more of. So like, we're trying something very different here. We're definitely on the edge as far as like a film for the faith audience. And if people don't go see it, well then Hollywood responds by going, well, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
So if we want to see more films that are breaking a mold, going out on the edge,
go
doing stuff to push the envelope a little bit even, and I think those are the films that are going to cross over and actually have other people that don't have a relationship with Jesus or don't know Jesus can come watch those, and it works. Like, those are the ones that work, but those are the ones that are no man's land right now because they're not 100% like, God's not dead, like a big message movie, or they're not, totally opposite, where you got to strip everything out of God, and so it's just like, it's a real fine line, and if we put our dollars there and we support that, we're going to get more of it.
I kind of like what you're saying. It's not a safe movie. This is like, it's not a safe little Christian.
Yeah. Well, we always say as Christians that
cool.
we wish faith would influence Hollywood more, but then we don't go see faith-based movies.
Yeah, so
what
here's our chance.
What about your own journey? Did you grow up in a youth group? Did you have any participation? How'd you come to Christ?
Funny enough, not look. I'm from Dallas, so like I was always church adjacent, probably I would say, and like my mom would take me to like a Bible school and
Sunday school.
Vacation Bible school. Like my daughters are, and I'm like, I gave vacation Bible school, but I never really embraced it, or it really took it. I always felt something there, but I never really embraced it. And then I was out here, I was 26, I think, and I had a buddy of mine. He said, "Hey man, do you want to come to church with me?" And I said, "You know what? It's about time I'll try it." I said, and I did. I said, "Lord, I will give you." And I was, young in Hollywood, and we were hanging out and doing stuff. And I said, "I'll give you 4 weeks where I'll commit to not going out Saturday night, so I can wake up and make sure I go to church on Sunday." And I did it, and by the 3rd week, I was in the men's Bible study.
Huh.
I can literally tell you there's a moment. There's this guy, Reggie Davis, and he showed up the same day, the first day that I was in the men's Bible study, and he was so smart, and I just had so many questions, us being analytical, men and women that just want to think about this now that like her. And I said, "You're so smart. Can I get coffee with you and understand how you are able to accept this?" And he's awesome. He said, "Yeah." We talked for 3 hours at Aroma Cafe in Studio City, and I walked out, and I had been hit by the Spirit, and then I changed. I mean, I literally, that was the moment. I mean, I've talking about, but like,
it's awesome.
that was like the moment that it actually worked for me, and he helped me make it make sense, and and I made changes in my life, and we all have our journeys and ups and downs and stuff, but dude, I ended up going to church camp and being a counselor, met my wife that like within months. So, and I got 2 kids, and and this is it's
your life is starting to sound like the movie in the beginning.
Yeah, you were one of the 5 remaining right there. As he was saying that, I went to VBS and I thought, I know which one you are in that 5.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, like for me, it's been an awesome journey, and it's been cool because I got really excited when I started writing some faith films, and I actually had like some that went around. People and I had some people go, "Oh, these are really good, like scripts, but there's too much God in them." And I was like, "All right," but then again, now I've got some of those same stuff, and now I've got one we just did called Produce, which again I would love to show you guys at some point when it comes around. But
Produce?
It's going to be a theatrical release the first quarter of next year.
Okay.
And then
it's a grocery store thing.
It's about a clerk that has Down syndrome who works in the produce section, and he has a childlike faith. And there's this ex-Major League Baseball player who's fallen apart, has no relationship with his daughter's family, and his whole time he looks at this guy and thinks this guy's not smart enough to know that he's missing out on the good stuff in life that him and his friends have. And then slowly he realizes, you've got something that I don't have, and it's this childlike faith. And they becomes friends, and this kid with Down syndrome becomes this conduit for change for this guy.
That's great.
So,
great.
Yeah, so we're really excited about that. And then
has that script been sold yet?
Oh, we shot it. It's going to first quarter of next year.
All right.
It's a theatrical release.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
Great.
And I directed that one too. So.
All right. Congratulations.
So maybe in a few months we'll be talking about that.
That'd be great. So you'll be a regular on the show.
Yeah, just scheduling my.
Exactly. Going down for LA, hang out in the
and
studio.
you know what would be great is if you do release that, if only Matt and I could see it and not Josh.
Yeah,
Yeah, because that's actually my favorite part of this whole interview.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
far.
Griff is like
he hasn't. He hasn't even looked at Griff.
I know.
I love
And he
that.
should.
I know. I just been looking at
what,
him going, man,
Chris,
sounds
what
great.
you don't know is that
Wedding. I can't wait.
Oh,
Can't
goodness.
wait to see this movie.
Griff is total, like, he's started this other thing, theforce.net. He's a total Star Wars nerd. He's seen all these Star Wars movies way before they got released. He gets invited to other movie releases. I mean, he's basically, like, way more into the movie scene than we are.
If anybody scams anything for free, it's Josh.
So it's brutal. So
Free
they
T-shirts,
are loving this
so anything that.
Obviously, his shirts are free.
Yeah.
He's
This
got a
is a shirt from LetGodWork.com. For free.
Gosh.
They paid me to say that. You're welcome. No, I'm kidding. I have no idea. So anyhow, yeah, I'm over here. I don't know if you knew that, but
I'm glad that I could play a small part in your comeuppance for
Thank
whatever
you.
he's
Yeah.
done
Thank
to
you.
guys.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
very glad
I'm
about
excited to see the film. I'll have to wait till it comes out in theaters, though. When does it come out again?
September 5th. Yep.
Love it.
That's
That's
great.
going to be awesome.
That's
well,
great.
I will go see it then, and you guys will just not, I guess.
No, I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna be in New York.
See?
Yeah,
Fun.
there you go.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'll
Look at
see it,
that.
and I'll just go see it in New York.
That's
My wife
awesome.
will be happy too, because I think she was a little bummed that the buffering thing came
Well,
out.
it's not. I mean, you have to. It's not the same thing. Looking at it on your
No,
screen.
I know.
Being there with a crowded theater,
Yeah. I
everyone
just-
jumping at the same
Yeah,
time.
no,
I
it's
wanted to see the message. I wanted to, because here's the deal. Matt and I went years ago.
Oh, that
We went to
movie
the
was
movie
fantastic.
Gattaca.
Okay.
Have you heard of it?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
I wanted to stab myself in the
No,
neck
it
and
was
bleed
me,
out in the
me,
movie.
You and Kathy went to that movie.
It
and
was-
Kathy thought it was fabulous.
No, she didn't.
She
no,
totally
she didn't.
did.
And Matt, the whole time, he is going, "This is great."
It was
and
science
literally,
fiction.
I wanted to bleed out in there.
Yeah.
And so when he said he really liked The Remaining, I went, "Okay, let me see." And honestly, Chris, you guys
It's a great movie.
did a great job. It will create youth workers. It is going to create all kinds of discussion. It is not easy answers. What I wrote in the endorsement was brush up on your rapture theology and prepare for questions because you're going to get them. It's well done. Support the movie. Chris, thanks for being a part of this, driving down from Hollywood into the fabulous studios of Download Youth Ministry.
And it's just really one studio.
Anything else?
No, it's a great movie. It makes what I wanted to say in the beginning, but totally forgot, is that I think there are some points that are really great and totally right in line with Scripture, and there is no but, and it leaves you with a great question of what is faith? What does it mean to have faith and make a choice? I mean, it's really good. And you might, for your youth ministry, you might not be able to make a youth ministry night of it, depending on your context and stuff. That's okay. I mean, we're not necessarily saying, oh, you have to make it that. But it's worth it for you to see, to support not only Christians working in this industry, but also to know what is the world saying about spiritual issues. I mean, this is part of the conversation that we want to be a part of.
Well, I encourage parents to take kids. You know, that's one of the things you may not be able to.
So they could learn a little
half
bit
of our
too.
audience will be able to
Sure.
invite. The other half will need to encourage families to go see it as well. But I'd rather those
And if
faith-based
you have some
conversations
elders you want to get
happen
rid
in
of,
the home.
Yes.
Anyway.
maybe it'll scare them.
You know, it is like if you want to see films that are going to push the edge in the faith world, like you've got to support them.
Yep.
That's really kind of the end
Yeah.
of it. So.
Very cool.
great.
Well, we'll be there on September 5th. Hopefully you will too.
All right.
Say hi,
Thank you guys.
Chris.
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Cool.
Chris.
Thanks, guys.
Fabulous.
All right.
We're done.
Bye.